Good morning. Thank you all for coming early. Appreciate it.
What's the plan to replace Jay?
Right out of the gate, man. Right out of the gate.
That's what I hear, right?
Good morning. Well, listen. Obviously we still have Sproles, who's coming along. And we're getting him healthy. Wendell Smallwood, Corey, Josh Adams. I mean, we're very comfortable and confident with those three. We've made it work so far this part of the season, and we're going to continue to make it work.
You mentioned injury. I think you said classified as minor, and then he missed like 4 games.
I never said minor. I don't think.
You did. It's okay though.
Go back and find it.
But how close is he?
He's close. Obviously, just want to make sure he's 100%, but he's getting better each day.
Hey Doug, when you wake, how's Corey health-wise? Is Corey Clemmer? Yeah.
He's doing well. He's 100%. He's full go, and he's excited to have an opportunity again.
Does it do anything for you guys mentally when you struggle through the first 5 games, but you look up at the division and no one's run away with it yet?
Is it a struggle?
No. Does it help? It doesn't give you guys a mental boost knowing that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely look at that, but at the same time, I think too we have to just evaluate ourselves and where we are, and we got to get better as a football team overall. But yeah, I think it's still right there, to be had. I mean, it's it's a great opportunity tomorrow night to start, with the division opponent and try to capture that, because if you win your division, good things happen later in the season. So it's obviously part of one of our focus and one of our goals each season.
Doug, are you using RPOs less so far this year? And if so, is it dictated on what the defense is showing? Or
no, actually I'm not. I'm still using them throughout the course of the games. We are seeing defenses obviously defend it a little bit better, so it's not, the ball's not coming out as a throw as much anymore. But we continue to work them, and if it applies each week, we're gonna keep having them in the game plan.
In your book, you had said that, in retrospect, looking at the Chiefs game, that
start again, please. I'm sorry.
In your book, you had mentioned the Chiefs game. In retrospect, looking back upon it, you felt like maybe the play calling had gotten away from you, a little too aggressive with the pass. Maybe you should have run a little more. And you also said that you made some changes that would change you throughout the course of the season. What were some of those changes in regards to the run-pass ratio?
You're talking about last season, a year ago.
Chiefs game. In your
Chiefs
book,
game. I just felt like, because in the Chiefs game, the score was tied, I believe, in the fourth quarter, 10, 11 minutes to go, if I remember correctly, and we had an opportunity there. I believe through a screen pass, got tipped off a helmet, pick, and then it just kind of changed things from there. I think they scored twice, and then next thing you know, we were behind. But I think moving forward from that game, for me, it was just a matter of finding a balance. I think I learned from that, and as a play caller, you want to have a balance, and so I think moving forward from that game, that's something that I was able to sort of create with the offense, and it was a great learning experience for me.
How did you make sure you didn't get away from the run in certain games, like that you made it an emphasis?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is you get leads early in football games, and then you can maintain the balance. A lot of times too, our maybe up-tempo offense created some of that as far as being able to run with a sense of urgency in our tempo offense. But if you can jump out to a lead early in football games and sustain it, it definitely creates a better balance and a mix of plays throughout the rest of the game.
what are defenses doing to better defend RPOs this year? I know it's a big point of emphasis.
I can't give that away. I'm not going to give that away.
You're working on the offensive side.
I know. I can't give that away though, because then it's everybody, all 31 other teams are going to be working on it. So.
I mean, it's just part of the story, though.
I mean, it's just part of, I think, what teams have seen from what we did last year. Offense, obviously, each year you're going to study the team, whether it's an offense or defensive structure that had success the year before. I mean, that just goes without saying. Everybody wants to see what worked and see if it fits for them. So obviously studying us and looking at some of the things we did. They've had a whole off season to prepare, a training camp to prepare, and we saw it early in preseason, with the Steelers and some of the things they did in the preseason game. So, teams are just defending it a little bit better, and then we just continue to evolve a little bit and find answers, moving forward.
And you said that leading to more run option, the option being that they're handing off more.
Yeah, you're seeing defenses kind of defend the pass a little bit more, where things of that nature. So, without getting into a lot of specifics, it's what you're seeing, and so it's just creating more runs.
You expressed confidence in the guys you have at running back now, but like long term, do you think you guys might need to bring in someone from the outside or look at someone anyway? I mean, is that...
Well, I'm sure that's a possibility. Howie is going to continue to look and see what's out there, see what's available, and see if there's somebody that we need to bring in. But in the short term, we're very confident in the guys we have, and these guys have worked extremely hard and excited for their opportunity.
Last year, when you guys brought in Jay, at what point in the process were the coaches, you and Deuce, I guess, brought in to look closer at a guy you might trade for?
Well, I mean, if it gets close enough, then yeah, we're gonna spend some time. Not a ton of time, but we're going to spend some time looking at a player, usually a veteran player. So there's a lot of film, a lot of history, a lot of things written or talked about with that player. So we can cover that, but just seeing if that person, if that player at any position is a fit, to our team, culture fit, athlete fit, in this case, if it's a runner, does he fit in the room? So there's a lot of variables there. So Deuce and I will definitely be in that conversation.
How did Jay end up going back into the game with a brace on? Was it not evident that he had an ACL?
Based on exam, everything was in the way he reacted to the injury. Just led us to believe that he was okay, just a mild injury. And I mean, he's a tough kid. I mean, he had the back injury, against Tampa Bay, and came back in that game and played, I think 2 weeks later. I mean, it's a credit to him, his toughness and willingness to re-enter the football game, and sometimes things like that are going to happen. The player's tolerance, obviously, are different, and he was in a position to go back and actually had a couple nice runs late in the game, and it was just unfortunate that now he's lost for the year.
So the MRI was Monday, and then you found out.
Yeah.
Wow.
What quarter was it that he actually got hurt?
That's really hard to say. It's gosh, I really can't answer that right now. I haven't had a chance to speak to Jay because he's gone, but I'll get that answer for you. Okay.
Doug, your forecast tomorrow is not promising in terms of weather. Does that impact your game plan? And when there is rain in the forecast, is there an advantage one way or the other, offense versus defense?
Well, I guess the Colts game was a little wet and rainy here, and so we have some experience with that. But it shouldn't, depending on the amount of rain and if there's wind involved and all that. I mean, yeah, it can probably sway your game plan a little bit, heavier one way or the other. But going into it right now, we still go into it thinking, we're going to execute our offense and our plan, and same way defensively. But we'll just keep monitoring the weather, as we go, and if we need to make changes, we'll make them.
In your first 2 years here, you won these Thursday games with the quick turnaround and played well even on the road last year. What is it that you do Monday to Wednesday during these weeks that you think helps you?
Well, I think one, you just have to, depending on the week before, you just have to refocus the group, whether you're coming off a win or a loss, just kind of it's a short turnaround. Getting the guys back out on the practice field, mentally engaged in meetings, and then just communicating with them. Really, it's more about them preparing themselves physically, just from the standpoint of rehydration and nutrition and rest, things we talk about a lot, especially on short weeks. Same thing we would do if we're going to the West Coast, So, and And sometimes, I mean, you kind of get back to the basics, offensively, defensively, kind of the things you do coming out of camp, and because you are in a short week, and you can't really fully, study the opponent as much, even though we know the Giants a little bit. We know this coordinator. We played him a year ago, so there's some evidence and some history there. But I think it's just a credit to the players, quite honestly, for getting themselves ready to go.
I know you said you liked Fletcher holding Jalen accountable during last game. Is that type of assertiveness, would he have done that 2 years ago? Has he kind of grown into this role where he feels comfortable being that vocal? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think he has really matured that way and grown into that role, that leadership role, and it's really, really positive to see. And the fact that they could not only when and where it happened on the field, but be able to take it to the sideline and then communicate even further and really sort of air it out, and then it was over, and I think that's a credit to the players and Fletcher for sort of diffusing the situation, and he's really embraced that role.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks.